Hi, Brittany, welcome.
Hi,
Good to see you.
good to see you.
All right. So, uh, we were talking a little bit about your story and just the huge, I'd say just the journey you've been on. My
Yes.
goodness. And how our community has helped you. In case I know some folks are just joining us. We are currently in the process of reopening our membership, Dementia Caregiving Made Easy. It is a dementia caregiver membership for folks who are dealing with challenging behaviors, whether you're at the very beginning of your journey or you're in the late stages. And obviously, you've been through it all, Brittany.
Or if you have no idea what stage you're in, you'll
That too.
find out.
That is so true. Oh my goodness. All right. So again, our community, we are opening it right now, but we are closing the doors tomorrow at midnight. So anyways, you're going to be sharing your story. We're going to be talking a little bit about that. But Brittany, introduce yourself. Let us know who you're caring for, all that good stuff.
Sure. So my name is Britney Camille. I live in the Northeast in New Hampshire with my husband and my two stepsons. My mother-in-law is my loved one. She lived in Massachusetts, which is a neighboring state of ours, and is my husband's mom. I've been around here though for 10 years, so it's not that I've always called her mom also. And towards the end she called me mom back. So there's a lot of stuff that goes on with this, and I wish that at the beginning I had been plugged in. I'm still thankful for the amount of time that I did have with this amazing community.
Absolutely. Yeah. So what were things like before you joined Dementia Caregiving Made Easy? Like how were you feeling? What was that like?
So I was extremely overwhelmed. I was looking for anything, anyway. She made a little bit too much money, like a couple of $100s to more than could be covered by Medicaid.
Hmm.
So Medicare at the time, I had 12 years experience working for Medicaid,
Oh,
and
wow.
I never knew anything about Medicare. And one of the first things I found out about Medicare is there is no long-term assistance, and
Mm.
that's a huge problem that I can see is going to be a problem for a lot of people, but it became our problem really quickly when my mother-in-law kept getting discharged home, and her home was just by herself.
Mm.
So there was no one to monitor, there was no one to help. She was doing some extremely unsafe habits, and luckily had started to vent to me about it, to share. So I kind of in a not so easy way demanded that she come for a while to our house, just so I could get a pulse on how bad the situation was that we were looking at. And I had no prior you know touch with dementia, so I never would have suspected it based on her behaviors. However, anyone who knows the behaviors of dementia, I knew something was off. I knew that it was not
Sure.
normal how she was behaving, so that just kept sending me down the rabbit hole of somebody's got to know, somebody's got to see this. And I vented to a friend who said, I'm not trying to diagnose your mother or anything, but my grandmother has what we call dementia, and I really think you should get her checked out for that. So I did bring her to a PCP, and the PCP said, maybe some mild cognitive decline. We'll send her to a neurologist. He did not seem scared at all about this, seemed very like this was normal. And so we followed down that path. It was only a couple of months though, because I kept Googling and checking on Reddit and playing with the algorithms, I'm sure. All of a sudden, one day on Instagram, Krista popped up with her Dementia Caregiving Made Easy. And I was
Yeah.
literally at my wit's end. I felt so alone. I felt like nothing I was doing was right. And it made me chuckle because it was the showering one. And that was like my biggest pain point at that point. I just couldn't understand how someone didn't want to be clean. And I would beg and I would bribe and I would plead and I would threaten and I would do anything that I could, and nothing was working. She just flat out lied to me. I took a shower yesterday. What are you talking about? I just got out of the shower. I took a shower at 3 a.m. while you guys were sleeping, and then washed and dried the towels and put them away, of course.
Of course
But
she did. Yeah. So
yeah.
everybody in chat, tell me real quick. First off, did you discover me through Instagram as well, or the reels here on Facebook? And I know someone just just commented that like asking what sundowning is. Sundowning is when the symptoms get worse as the day goes on. So any like agitation, anxiety, stuff you've been describing with mother-in-law, which first off, hats off to you for taking care of mother-in-law. Oh my goodness. Man.
She was the sweetest woman ever the first 8 years that I met her. I do not hold the last 2 years of her behavior against her at all, but when you are in it, you will. And that's okay.
Absolutely.
I recognize that in myself now, and I know that there was no way of changing that. That was me having to go through that. And I want to make that clear to everyone in this room that it is normal that you should feel those ways, and that it's not something to be ashamed of. It doesn't mean that you're failing. In fact, if you ask any of us, we're going to relate. We've all been there. And just try to be kind to others when you see them in a different phase, because a lot of us, I mean, now I'm on the other side where the responsibility isn't there anymore, but I have kinder thoughts towards myself back then and towards people going through those early stages. This is hard, and people will tell you it is, and they'll tell you it's okay that you're not made for it, and they'll tell you a bunch of different things, but it's not until you've actually been through it that you feel that it's real. So try to be good to yourself. Try to take it easy on yourself. Know that this is not them. Know that the things that they say to you are not personal. They're not intentional. And even when they seem like they could be, even when it feels vindictive and it feels sketchy, like that they've done something or they're doing it just to get under your skin, some of that might be true, right? It's not to get under your skin, but it's to get a reaction. They want to feel normal again.
Yeah.
And if they can't feel normal in a happy way, they'll feel it in an argumentative way. They're pretty okay with that.
You're pretty good with that. Yeah. So tell us a little bit, I guess, what specific, things you got from Dementia Caregiving Made Easy that helped with her. Because I understand that she was definitely in our one-on-one coaching sessions, and just you being in the general Facebook or membership Facebook group as well. We learned that, she didn't even want to go into the actual bathroom. Like, that's how much she hated showers.
Yeah, there was a lot of anxiety around that, and the couple of times where the accidents were so bad that like we had to wash her. I learned different ways to go about doing it. Right? You can't shame them. You can't make them feel bad. That's not a thing, right? They'll just continue to they will distract you from what you want them to do through the excuses. So you have to kind of lead that conversation, right? Distract them before they can distract you, and never give yes or no answers. That was a huge thing that I took away from this, is I never gave yes or no answers anymore. It was just, would you like to do it this way, or would you like to do it that way? Notice I didn't tell you had an option not to be able to do it, because that's always going to be the option that they pick. So it's very true. I was able to get so many things done because the no won't come out unless she hears it as an option.
Yeah. And that's so important to know. And I saw somebody in chat real quick, I want to address this, say that they don't think they can afford the membership. But the thing is, honestly, I hear from all of you guys in our group, you wish you would have found us sooner. And quite frankly, the way I see it is, folks like Teepa Snow, like all kinds of course creators here online, and I'm sure you're a lot more online than maybe some of us are, Brittany. They're charging thousands of dollars. We know our healthcare system is charging thousands of dollars.
The nursing homes that I was looking at up here and in New Hampshire, they are more reasonably priced than a lot of places. We're still $10,000 to $15,000 a month. That is, I don't know about you guys, but it's like 4 or 5 times my mortgage payment. I can't pay my mortgage and pay to put her somewhere. So it became I can't afford private care. I can't afford people to come sit here with her. She was no longer safe by herself. I had no choice but to take this on. So yeah. Not that it's not free, but the one-on-one coaching, being able to tell you, this is what I'm seeing. I sent you videos. I sent you so much stuff, and you were able to tell me, because I was really lost. I was like, look at what this lady's telling me and saying to me. Like,
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
like,
even know, do I go along with some of these things?
you're
They
like,
seem dangerous.
yeah, you're like sending me emails as well. Yeah, I mean, honestly,
I've
that's and
leaned on you, and I look at that as
yeah,
like not only therapy, but also like you're a professional, and this is your advisement, and it got me through getting through. I couldn't
yeah,
get through anymore. There was no more. I ran out of things I could do, right? Logic, reason, and evidence were how my life is based on. Everything I do. One of the first things you told me is, forget it. Throw it out the window because it won't work here. And I was like, like I will die. So I needed this. This was 100% necessary. And honestly, I found the cost very reasonable, considering that I got you every month. I had a session with you, which I didn't even know. Remember, I thought it was just the one-time deal. And then
yeah.
you reached back out to me and you're like, so when's good this month? And I'm like, I get this again? I get this every month? Oh, well, now, yeah. It's paid for itself, at least.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
I made it all the way through. I didn't have a mental breakdown. When I tell you how many times I told the hospice people, there's a good chance I'm going to be one of those failed caregivers, that I drop her off at a hospital and I say, I can't do it anymore, and she's not safe to be home. And I walk away because they'll find somewhere for her to go. I was close to it a couple of times because it became too much. Everything was just too much.
yeah,
And that's okay. Like, you're all going to hit it. Even if you think you won't, even if you think you have the patience of a saint and your
that's true.
person is the best person that you've ever met in your entire life. My mother-in-law was and still is, one of the best people I've ever met in my entire life. The most sweetest human being. But that disease takes that from you. It takes everything from you. Your personality is no longer your personality. The things that you would say, the way that you are not. And that's something really hard for the people closest to them to handle, which I
Yeah,
also think was beneficial for me to kind of be halfway. We're close because we've known each other for 10 years, but we saw each other on weekends occasionally and for holidays. She didn't live with me until she was, to had the.
yeah,
So
you're
I
you're
try
breaking
to
up
say, I
a
always
little
think
bit.
of
So
her the way that she was,
yeah, yeah. Show's asking, is it really 24 a month? Yes. So just to clarify real quick, so the general membership is $24 a month. The coaching on you're talking about is 39. And I've gotten this question a whole bunch about the
I
membership
did
as
the
well.
bundle or something, right?
Yeah, you can
I
go
did
up.
the
You can
super
go.
VIP.
Yeah,
Give
yeah.
me all the
You could.
answers.
Yeah, you could go up or down. So if you want the coaching, it's 39 a month. But let's just say, maybe you don't need the coaching right now, but you think I might need this later. You could start at 24, go up when you need it, go back down when you don't, so on and so forth. There's no, like, you don't necessarily have to stay locked in at one specific thing. I saw somebody, is it really 24 a month? Yes, it is. Yeah, there's so many things beyond even the coaching and the small groups. There's personalized videos, there's
Yeah.
cheat sheets and guides and all that type of stuff.
The
But
cheat sheets were amazing. The accessibility was what I paid for, honestly. I needed to know that I had outlets. I had educational materials to look through when I had time. I had you to ask pointed, personal, one-on-one questions with. I had the videos to rewatch through. I mean, a lot of your stuff was free before I ever signed up for a membership, but I knew in my place, I had been doing it kind of winging it for over a year, and I was at my wit's end. I had told my husband, I quit. I can't do this anymore, because I was being shadowed by my person. She wanted to know where I was every second of the day and was always looking for me, yelling out to me. My name was called more times than I've ever heard it in my 38 years added up together on a daily basis. It was nuts for me. I mean, I understand some people have kids and they're like a little more used to that, but I never had kids either. So that added a whole new level of stress when you're not used to that. You got to fit it into your day. The incontinence stuff and not being able to toilet herself, like all of that stuff just added
yeah,
up. And if I
absolutely,
hadn't found you, I definitely was hitting the escape button.
absolutely.
But with your advisement, I was able to do it all the way through, and even when I didn't think I was going to be able to.
Yeah. So what are some of the specific tips you would give a caregiver as far as uh, being able to get her to cooperate a little bit more? I know you shared a little bit at the beginning, but as far as going from refusing the bathroom, refusing everything to basic, I mean, it was very, very fast. Like it was within like a month or two that you were seeing results.
Yeah. So definitely, like I said, number one is abandon the logic, reasoning, teaching thing. Assume they're not children, right? They might be they might be presenting themselves as children, but they're not children. So they're not going to be able to put those building blocks together. So logic, reasoning, wanting to be right, all that stuff, just kind of shove it way, way, way in the back. Not important here. It's very important to have them know and feel that you believe and understand them above all. Doesn't matter if they're telling you there's a dragon in the living room or a Pokemon just stolen. Yes, I believe you. Can I help you with that? And just play along. I had her, she was screaming and crying over people on TV. She's calling them son of a B words and swearing up a storm. I went in there knowing that if I tell her it's just a person on TV, she's going to turn her anger to me because I don't believe her. And she was just so angry at the TV. What I learned and what worked well was go in there just as angry at that TV, at that person on that TV. She told you to stay out of here. What are you doing in here? I've asked you to leave. Get as close to the TV as I could, grab the remote, shut it off without her looking, and boom, he's gone. Put a stop to that, didn't I? And you're their hero. So
That's
every
amazing.
time that something presented that she was aggravated about or mad about or was causing her anxiety, I would come in like the knight in shining armor and find a way to deal with it. It didn't always work, but 80% of the time from zero was a huge hit for me.
Absolutely. I know. And I think a big concern a lot of folks have is just like, well, I already have a crap load of things on my plate as a caregiver. How the heck am I going to have time to take this on? But the way I see it, how much time were you wasting on arguing?
On the caregiving stuff.
Yeah.
Throw that to the side and just worry about this. You'd be surprised at the more they trust you, the more they're willing to do things that you want them to do. And therefore you're not wasting your time arguing with them to get to them to do it.
Yeah. And maybe we could achieve the whole mystical self-care that people keep telling us we can have.
So another little trick I found to the self-care thing is get them dirty. Find something to do, right? Like clay, Play-Doh, any of that crap, finger paints. Get them dirty. And then be like, oh no, look at the mess we made. Well, would you rather? And then it depends on what their qualms are, right? So some people it's the temperature. If I'm putting in a heater in there, if it's the temperature that they rebuck at works. If it's getting naked in front of someone else, like I was her daughter-in-law, right? She trusts me, but she doesn't really want me seeing everything. Yeah. And I get that. So I had bought her a bathing suit and I had bought her a slip. And I'd be like, do you want to wear the bathing suit in the shower or the slip in the shower? Not, do you want to take a shower? Yes or no? I said, do you want to wear this or do you want to wear that? Because now she has something else that she's thinking about. Would I rather wear that into water or that into water? She makes a decision. I put it on before she has a second to think about it and put her in the shower in the seat. And now, we start at the bottom like you have shown. Get them used to the good feeling and their feet being warm and washed and, make them feel loved. They don't have much touch in their lives if they're not married and you're not their spouse.
Sure.
So I found that doing pedicures with my mother-in-law and doing her nails and brushing her hair, she actually got immense enjoyment out of. You just couldn't put it the way that you used to.
Absolutely. Yeah. I've seen folks in the comments saying like, that is like a genius idea. And that's the beauty of it. Cause it's sure.
It came from someone else. I didn't invent it. It was someone else that I was watching just like this. And I was like, oh, I'm trying that next time.
And that's the beauty of our community is that, whether it's the our private Facebook group or whether it's the small groups, whether it's in our workshops that we have like once a month instead of having to wait when I do the big ones a couple times a year. we're getting ideas from each other all the time. Like,
Yeah.
granted, I've worked with thousands of folks with dementia, but at the same point in time, you guys still never cease to surprise me with like the MacGyvering tips where I'm just like, dang, I need to steal that. Like, it's
Hey,
amazing.
when I signed up, I was like, I will take all information, anything, and I would just go make a list. Don't get defeated if the first thing that someone tells you doesn't work. If you have another tidbit for that particular situation, try it out. You know, if one of them made her agitated, leave the room for 20 minutes. Come back, you get to try all over again. There are upsides to this disease, right? If it didn't work out, or if you accidentally sparked a negative attraction, excuse yourself from the room. Go find something else to do for a while. Come back. Good chances, if they're stage 4 or later, they're not going to remember it. And if you
Yeah.
leave the night on a good note, it won't be held against you. Another good tip is, if somehow it does get left on a bad note, the next morning, immediately bring up something of that nature. Like, if they're really upset because someone hasn't come by to see them, or they're really upset because they think you did something you know you didn't do, right? Bring up something that you both like. So for me and my mother-in-law, she was a huge Red Sox fan. So one day I was putting in her bed, and she was very angry about something with me. She said I'd left her there, and her diaper was dirty, and I hadn't come cleaned it, and she had been laying there for 3 days. It had been like 2 hours, and she had just gone to the bathroom. But that's neither here nor there. You never say that, right? So I said, oh my God, I'm so sorry, right? I apologize profusely. I'll clean you up right now. I will never, ever do that again. Leave her. The next day, she goes, I'm still mad at you. And I'm like, at me? Why would you be mad at me? I'm like, I think you were mad at the Red Sox last night. Remember, they just canceled the game. They gave us no reason why. And she paused, and she was like, yeah, you're right. I was mad with you. We were both mad about that. Just why? I'm not a liar. I
Amazing.
really am not. I have become an okay liar to get by with the dementia stuff, because you can really twist it and make their delusions work for you. And I suggest that.
That's amazing. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I think of it as like you're being consistent with what they already believe, and you're painting
She
yourself
knows we watch
in a
the
great
Red
light.
Sox games. She knows that they've canceled games. It's just believable enough that she just will roll with it, because it's less.
Yeah,
She doesn't have enough recollection to argue me on her point, so she's willing to buy
absolutely.
mine.
Yeah. Yeah. So now that you've come, I guess, full circle with your journey, I guess what are some how are you feeling now, as far as, because clearly, you're still wanting to give back to the community. You're
Yeah,
still a part of us, even though you've
yeah,
come to the end, which is amazing. So I guess share a little bit about that and what that's been like.
yeah. So I mean, because I had never heard of dementia before, it was really hard for me to go through this journey. But from the very first people that I talked to about it, they had said, it's a real honor. It's something that you're chosen to do. That one person focuses and relies on you. And for most of my journey, I'm going to be honest, I was like, honor? I don't feel like this is an honor. I feel like this is torture. I feel like this is karma. I feel like I did something bad. Like, I was the worst on myself. And it wasn't till
Mm.
really, Krista, you've helped a lot, and then the hospice nurses that I met, like, take a moment, like, take a step back, give yourself grace. You are an entire person responsible for all the things you were responsible for before this landed on your lap. This person is in a very tender state, and you are doing the best you can, right? So I think that I had always wanted this to just kind of not be the way that I remembered her. I wanted to focus on
Mm.
our 8 years that we had prior to that. But now that I'm at the end of my journey, I really have to say it was an honor, because she chose me, and because I know that I didn't think I had this in myself to do, and she knew all along.
Mm.
So I'm still here because I desperately wish that there was a me when I was first going through it that would have been open to discussing things and help me to plug into the right places, to watch the right things, to learn the tricks and tips that now I have. And I watch too many of the posts inside of our community that feel bad for themselves for what that they have to go through, and you shouldn't feel bad for reacting or acting out or feeling like this is unfair, because it is in a lot of ways, and it's okay to feel that way. And there's not ever going to be someone who truly went through this and dedicated themselves to this that had not done that themselves and that would ever ridicule you for feeling that way. So
Absolutely.
if you
Yeah, I
take
saw in
one thing that I say away, it's be good to yourself. Give yourself grace, tons of grace.
absolutely. Yeah, I saw somebody in chat saying that, you know, they felt bad because they were yelling at their spouse with dementia. And it's like, there's so many times where I've been like, dude, we have all done it. If you say you haven't, you're a liar.
I think so.
We
I
all have.
really do. And if not, then they're a damn saint, but I'm not.
No,
You know,
no,
I'm a human,
no.
and if you yell at me, eventually I'm gonna yell back at you.
Yeah.
And I can say many times in my head that it's not personal, and I can say that she's just sick, but there are things, you know, they will look for things because it's the reaction, they just need one.
Yeah.
And the sooner you find out how to keep the more positive reactions and keep their emotion status quo, the better you will be off with having to deal with that. Because I find that even your facial expressions, they will pick up.
Yeah,
So
they
when
will.
you say something and you're not meaning it, make sure all of this says that you do, because they'll call you out on it.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness. It's just, I know. Honestly, I commend you. I know when I initially asked you to do this, it's been so fresh, and I was just like, "Are you sure you want to talk to us?" But you are so brave and just so incredible. It's one of those things where I know in the big workshops, you guys think I don't see you, but I do see you. You were in the last one we did too, right before you joined. I saw you. And I knew you were going to be really, really special. Like I can kind of pick out those folks.
Yeah, I
And
definitely felt good, like, in here too. I'm not like a video person. I'm an introvert. I don't like participating in anything. I like, you know, silently stalked from afar for a long time before even joining, and then when I did, I get my video off, and then I volunteered for something, and then I was like, you know, this is really a place that I feel like I belong, and I'd love to help, you know, on a caregiver to caregiver basis. So
yeah,
if anybody, you know, needs someone to talk to or wants to reach out, I'm always open to that. I've talked
yeah,
to people
Brittany's still
inside
with
of
us.
ours. Yeah, exactly. I'm not going anywhere for a while. It's funny because the last few months, of course, you know, seeing other people and things that they went through, I was always like eggshells, afraid that something terrible would happen or she'd have an accident in my house. And I was always very anxious about that. But then when she went very peacefully, now I'm just like, I'm not ready to just leave. You know, this has become a part of my life. You guys have become stories that I still care about what's going on and how your loved ones are doing. And I want to help in any way I can for those that have more questions or a certain thing that comes up that they maybe aren't sure or can't get a hold of someone to do.
Yeah,
Obviously, I am not a professional by any stretch of the imagination, but I am really good at listening. I've become really good at listening.
yeah, and yeah. Honestly, I would have never known, to be honest with you, just because I know. I met you. You joined us. It's one of those things where I always tell people, especially if they're at the very beginning, or maybe they've placed their loved one in assisted living, and they're just like, crap, did I just give up on my person? But the truth is that no matter where you are, no matter where you're starting, it's so, so important to have that community and to have the knowledge that's relevant to you and not have to go freaking searching online. I feel so bad that you wasted so much time trying to find all this and do it all by yourself. It just sucks. I don't want that for
It wasn't
anybody. I want,
until that she was literally short circuiting, and my husband got on the phone with the PCP and was like, I don't care about what neurologist said what. You come here and tell me that this woman is okay. Like, it was because neurologists can only take pictures, and CAT scans and MRIs do not show dementia. Don't let them tell you that
yeah,
it does. She had both,
no,
and it showed zero signs. And 4 months later, she was gone. So
Yeah.
don't rely on neurologists. Don't rely on pictures. That's not accurate. And that's the other thing that I thank you for, because I had never even known that there was such thing as a geriatric psychologist or psychiatrist, you know. But a friend of mine is now going through this exact thing with her mother. And the first thing I did was say, don't bring it to the doctor. Make an appointment with a geriatric psychiatrist. If you think that it's possible, let her get assessed by someone who knows what the heck that they're talking about.
Yeah.
And I wish that I knew that back then, because I wouldn't have wasted all the time and the issues and the frustrations going down the normal healthcare continuum, when I had a good idea after my first video watching you and all your subsequent videos that I was looking at what she had. I'm just not an MD.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the truth is, I think a lot of us have this expectation when we bring our loved ones to the neurologist or to the doctor, the PCP, whatever, that they're going to know exactly how to shepherd us through this. But the truth is they don't. You know, they're very, very knowledgeable about medication. They're very knowledgeable
Thousands of
about the scientific reasons it all happens. Yeah, they're very knowledgeable about all that, but you know, they have no idea what to say and what to do. Like when you're at your house, like they have no freaking, like you have to go to somebody who's, you know, worked with folks one-on-one for years, you know, whether it's folks in our community who have been in the caregiving trenches for years,
Right.
or, you know, a professional like me who has worked with thousands of folks. Like I have personally calmed down thousands of people with dementia. So obviously, you know, it's just two different things. And I know it's man, I know. I'm just so passionate about like how the healthcare system just sucks and it's failing us so hard.
It sucks.
There's just got to be a better way.
I'm so afraid over the next 20 years of what the middle class is really going to have to go through, because unless they do some kind of Medicare reform, there are no options. There's no affordability. You either have to make less than the poverty line to be picked up by Medicaid, or you have to literally make 9 figures, 12 figures to be able to put your loved one in a home and be able to pay your own mortgage. I mean, you know, not to divulge anything, but we make good money. We're a 4-income household, like, and we could not afford to put her anywhere for any amount of time at all. I had respite happen once, and it was a luxurious 5 days, but they warned me, even dropping her off, if you don't come get her on Sunday, it's $350 a day. And
oh wow,
I was like, I'm sorry, what?
Oh.
What did you just say?
Oh
That's
my
a
word.
lot more than I make a day, I'll tell you that. So
absolutely. I mean, it's just, yeah, it's one of those things where at the end of the day, no matter, oh yeah, I see somebody saying the Medicaid facilities suck. And they're really hard to get into as well. That's something that a lot of people don't tell you, is even if you qualify for Medicaid, it can be like 6 months to a year before those folks can get in. And at the end of the day, the way I see it is, if your choice is thousands upon thousands of dollars, or people who are, quite frankly, are charging way too freaking much for courses, just stupid, you know, versus our membership due, which is like, I don't know, a trip or two to Starbucks. Right. Come on. Like, it's just a no. It's, to me, it's a no-brainer, but that's our mission, is to make things there you go.
Funny.
Oh man, I know we all love our Starbucks, but yeah, so I guess maybe not. Maybe we like some other coffee. There we go. Oh man. Yeah. So I guess any last thoughts about our community, or just your experience, advice you want to give before I let you go? Because I know you took time out of your busy schedule.
No worries.
So I appreciate it so much.
No worries. I would just say again, like, be kind to yourself. Go see the right people. Don't put all your eggs in that basket, though. Whatever they say, they say. Dementia is a ride. It's a roller coaster. Lots of it is really hard, and it's not going to be like, you know, dementia made easy isn't going to be easy, but what it is going to do is stop you from getting in your own way a lot and give you several paths forward. So you have a toolbox to look into and try to utilize when you feel like you're hitting walls or you feel like you're going nowhere. Really take advantage of the white lies. I know it's hard. I struggled with it probably more than anything. I am the worst liar in the entire world. I cannot lie to save my life. The only blessing is they can't tell. Dementia people have no way of knowing whether what's coming out of your mouth is true or not. Even if you look pathetic telling a lie, which I did often, but just try it, practice it a little bit. Let your loved ones in your household know too. The more of you doing it, the better. A lot of them cry because they're depressed. They are so, so depressed. My mother-in-law
Yeah.
told me every day how bad that she felt, that she went through different realms and
Oh,
during the phases
wow.
where she felt like there was something she did to deserve this. She would call out
Oh,
to God. She also thought because she hadn't been religious in the last 10 years that had to do with it. She
oh,
thought that she was losing her mind, that maybe
yeah.
the medications that she had taken were poisoning her. I mean, once they
It's
start to
terrifying.
go, the delusions are far and few of how they could have gotten that way, but they will. My mother-in-law cried and cried and cried and screamed for help. Anybody help me, for weeks. But these behaviors will have seasons. There will be behaviors that just happen, and some of them will be very annoying, and some of them will just be like, oh, I hope that that's okay for them to be doing all the time. But then it'll change. It's like seasons, and then they'll develop new fun and not so fun habits, and that's how you kind of know your moving stages too.
Yeah.
So I still don't know like everything, and I don't pretend to. I think we talked about this when I first joined the mentoringship thing when I was younger, and even now. Every time I'm really afraid of something, I throw myself into it. I learn everything about it, and it usually tends to not be as scary. So I had signed up with
Mm.
the Alzheimer's Association, and I had started classes to become a certified caregiver, dementia caregiver. But not only was I wrong, this is the first thing that I ever dropped out of in my life, because the
Mm.
more I learned about dementia, the more frightened I got. And that's
Mm.
never happened to me. So
Mm.
I very much respect you and anyone who can do that for a line of work, along with the hospice people. I'm too much of an emotional person for that. I get very attached, like family, even to strangers, or not strangers, but people who are not family related to me, friends, their family. Like I know I could never do it because this is eating me up inside.
Sure.
But I also feel like I've done better with this than I've ever done with any death in my life, because I had 2 years of taking care of this woman in a way that I've never taken care of anyone in my entire life.
Yeah.
So I have
Absolutely.
that, at least. It is the disease of 1,000 goodbyes, though. So
It
I
really is.
am so sorry
Yeah, that's what we're
that
yeah, that's what we're walking
we are
through.
all going to go through it, and
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, the thing is that I think what's really special about the experience when we care for somebody with dementia is that we learn that we are capable of loving and giving and being so much more than we ever thought that we would ever have to be. It's I know that's how I felt definitely towards the end of working at the hospital, where my patients were all sick with COVID, and I had to hold their hand and reassure them that they were asking if they were going to live or die. And it's just like, it's one of those things where, granted, not everybody is in that intense of a situation, but at the same point in time, it's just like, I think ultimately what's there in the end, because it will end. I think it's so easy to feel like it's going to be forever, but it
It
does
definitely
eventually end.
feels like it's going to be forever.
Forever.
But
But it does
it
end.
it does end, and it ends in such a way that there is no way to know when it's going to.
Mm.
So those seasons I talk about were like waves, and the waves got higher and higher until they swept her away. And that's
Mm.
literally what it was. It was, you can tell the seasons, but you don't really know exactly what it's going to look like, and there is absolutely no way to tell when it's going to happen. But when it does, it will be, most likely, from what I've heard and what I experienced, rather quick. The final stage is rather rather quick.
Yeah.
And luckily hospice is there for that stage. It was help that I wasn't willing to do at first, but I'm glad that I ended up doing. I made some really good friends, some really compassionate people, and found that, of course, I have a newfound respect for anyone who can do that, but I am not one of those people.
I don't blame you. I'm honestly not one of those people either, to be honest with you. It's, oh
I want to
man.
help those people. I have new people to donate to. I have new people to help support. I have new friends, but I don't want to be one of those people.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
This
I
was
don't blame
a
you.
one and done for me. Unless God forbid, my
Something else
parents or
happens.
yeah. But I will not, be seeking out this experience again, other than to just help others. I really,
Yeah.
really will probably stay around indefinitely, because I wish that there was someone like me that I would have crossed paths with that maybe would have helped me get plugged in sooner. I know that the outcome was always going to be what it was, and I know that there was no way I could have changed or influenced the doctors because I tried. But I do think that I can help other people who just maybe don't know who to ask or don't know where to reach out to. At the very least, get them to you.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And just, I think that's what's so beautiful about the community. It's obviously, while I feel like more than anything, I'm a facilitator and I try to give tools based off of the things I've learned over thousands of patients and years and years and years. But at the end of the day, I think folks like you are what make our group special.
Thank you. Like I said, I think that it was someone who jumped on a live like this with you that finally got me to be like, well, you know what? They got a lot of good things to say. I think I need to try this too, because there were no other options really. I had to get better at it for my own sake.
Yeah. Yeah. Just for everybody's sanity. And I think at the end of the day, what I hope is, we can gain the perspective that you've gained from losing her. And I think you obviously did gain it while she was still with us too, but gain the perspective that, when we're struggling so much with challenging behaviors, we see our folks as those problems in front of us. And it's hard for us to see the person behind the problems. And when you know how to tackle these problems, it's easier to see the person behind it. It's easy to see the reward in the struggle. That's caregiving. It's so hard, but oh my
I tried to
goodness.
take a lot
Anyway,
of steps back to say, if this situation is that defeating to me and aggravating to me, imagine what being trapped inside my own brain and being her feels like. And that would always put me in perspective of, not to say that I don't deserve to be aggravated. However, before I let that make me vocal, I'm going to take it a different way. And I did see somebody's comment, and I have heard this before, where like someone's loved one was not very loving towards them prior to this. And I feel for you guys so much. I did not have that experience. Me and my mother-in-law had an amazing relationship for 8 years. But I will tell you, over those last 2 years, oh my God, I was not looked at as the angel that she had always called me and told me I was. I had been called every name in the book because she was thinking I was someone else, or the delusions were taking over, or I was just being the rule enforcer that she didn't want to do, like whatever it was, So I think that you should be prepared for any dynamic that you used to have not to be relevant to your dynamic now, whatever that means for them. There's no such thing as just a always nice dementia patient, though, because it is tapping on all of those filter, mouth, judgment. Like those are the categories where the proteins are messing with the brain. So one of the first things that they don't have is that filter. That thing to say, just because I thought that, I probably shouldn't say it. Nope, it's coming right out. If you gain some weight, she's gonna tell you about it. If you if your makeup looks like crap, be prepared to hear about it. If she doesn't like what you got on, be prepared to know about it. Like, and that's just normal. That doesn't go into if you bring her out in public and she's what other people are doing or wearing or saying. That's a whole new ball game. So I feel for you, but really everyone is going to be different, and you have to just kind of see them for being a human being rather than the way they used to make you feel.
Yeah, that's so important. Yeah, they are who they are right now. The core of who they are is still the same, but the actions, the behaviors are different, and that's
And
okay.
they all just want to feel loved. They want to feel like you're in their court, that you'll do
Yeah,
whatever it is that they need. They don't even know what that is mostly, but you'd be surprised at just what grabbing their hand and holding it and telling them that you love them and that they're safe will do. It calms so much. And it sounds dumb, and I never would have done it on my own, but once I did it and got such a great feedback from her, almost every time I went in there, I touched her. Even if it was the
oh,
top of her head or just her shoulder, held her hand. And that made it a lot easier all of the time. We always started a conversation on something pleasant.
absolutely,
Sometimes words aren't needed, and sometimes words get in the way.
absolutely.
And
Yeah.
I don't
Oh
know
my
if you
goodness.
notice, but I use too many words sometimes, and that is also a problem with dementia. They don't
Oh
need to know the
man,
whole story. You gotta shorten it up.
it's true. It is so true. Well, I've been seeing in chat, there's definitely some questions that I want to get to, but Brittany, thank you so much for taking time out of your evening and joining us. Uh,
Thanks.
Absolutely. And we'll definitely let you go. But everybody, thank Brittany in the comments for taking time and coming. And oh my goodness, you'll find her in our community if you join us. So
I'm there.
there you go.
Thank you so much.
All right. You have a great rest of your night,
You
Brittany.
too.
We appreciate you so much. All right. Bye, Brittany. Okay. Okay. Oh my goodness, guys. I'm like feeling emotional after that. I don't know. Tell me in the chat if you guys feel that way too. But if you guys have any questions from the workshops or any questions you have about the membership or just in general, I'll be answering that for probably another like 10 to 15 minutes. Uh, so absolutely. I see everybody saying thank you, thank you. So I guess real quick for maybe those who are hopping on, the community that we were talking about is Dementia Caregiving Made Easy. It is our long-term membership community. It comes with personalized videos, personalized cheat sheets, which means that you're not getting overwhelmed and inundated by information that isn't relevant to you. Oh my goodness. And you'll get access to a workshop a month or a guest Q&A. And at the end of the day, what that focused help is really for is so that we get more time back. We don't waste it by arguing, by trying to convince them to stop sundowning, or just convince them to stop trying to ask to go home. It's just crazy. So again, the pinned comment, dementiasuccesspath.com is where you can sign up and join. We are accepting new members right now, but we will not be accepting new members after tomorrow. So tomorrow is the deadline to join us if that's what you want to do. We're not taking new members until the new year, quite frankly, because I would rather love on my community and really be all in for everybody versus spending all my time recruiting folks, honestly. So if you have any questions, I'm going to answer them real quick in another 10 minutes. Let's see. Linda says, how do you get other family members to truly see the dementia family member or see the family member with dementia? So what that looks like is honestly, you aren't, I've said this a few different times, you aren't going to influence people by trying to tell them how they should think, how they should feel. Tell me in chat if you have a bunch of care partners in your life who are just don't get it, who are constantly doing the wrong thing. And when you try to tell them, they don't listen to you. Ultimately, you're not going to be influential if you're trying to correct problems that they don't see as problems. You have to really ask them, what are you having trouble with? What are you struggling with? And honestly, that is the great first step to being able to open them up to accept advice or to accept tips. So anyways, the website to join our membership is dementiasuccesspath.com. I saw somebody saying they want to join, but they can't do now to finances. I'll tell you what, $24 a month is like, I think about like my favorite fast food, like Chipotle or something. I could forego a Chipotle trip in order to gain back so much peace of mind and like have an incredible supportive community that are full of people like Britney. Just incredible people that are going to be there for you that you actually know. Like in these giant Facebook groups, that are these free giant Facebook groups, like you don't know these people, like you don't know them. And in a smaller, more intimate community where, some folks have a little bit of skin in the game. So they're serious about being there for each other and learning and really growing together in their caregiving journey. Like you'll actually know these people. Like that's, God, it's just amazing. It truly, truly is. So, I mean, granted, I don't want to shame anybody for what they can or can't do as far as their finance goes, but, we're not reopening again till next year. So it's going to be a while before we reopen again. And I would certainly hate for you guys to have the same story that Britney did, which is that you wish that you would have joined sooner, that you wish that you would have had that support, that education, that knowledge sooner. So, my goodness. It's just, I know, I always get so fired up about that. Someone says it got a little bit emo at the end. That's okay. All right. Again, if you guys have any other questions that I didn't necessarily get to from the workshop or just in general right now, I'm so happy to answer that. I'm rolling through the past questions in case I missed some, because I saw some rolling by. Let's see. Christian says, I need help getting her help because she has a pension and everything is private pay, which she can't afford. Yes, absolutely. So what's awesome about our membership is we include a ton of guest experts. So what that looks like is if I can't tell you the answer to something, I will get for you the expert that will tell you exactly the steps you need to take. We've had an elder attorney on telling us all about how to navigate the legal side of dementia. We've had a social worker who has walked through the Medicaid process talk extensively about how to navigate through the Medicaid process. We've had the Jerry Psych doctor that I know Britney was referring to, who was giving thoughts, general ideas about what to ask your doctor about medication for dementia. Just incredible stuff there, so that you're able to get the resources that you need. Like, oh my goodness. All right. Let's see. I'm looking to see. You've got about 5 more minutes if you have another question. Again, if you aren't sure and you are just kind of on the fence, let me know why you're on the fence so I can address that concern either way, to see if it is if the community is for you or not. That's okay. Said, oh, I really need to talk to the dementia attorney. Yeah, so what it looks like on our site is it's an interview with an elder attorney that is available to watch whenever you feel like, basically. And if, let's just say there's a professional, you're like, God, I wish I could talk to this professional. You could let the community know and I'll make it happen. Like, honestly, I've gotten, this go around, we've gotten so many questions about like, how do we mediate with family? How do we mediate with care partners? Like, how do we do this? And we're planning bringing on a therapist and doing a whole workshop / Q&A on how we do that. Peggy asks, is the membership a month-to-month commitment? Yes, it is. So, and like I was saying earlier too, let's just say you don't need coaching right now, but you might need it later. You can always go up or down in the different membership levels. So you're not stuck doing any specific thing as far as that stuff goes. See, if I join now and then have trouble paying in 2 months, can I unjoin? Yeah, that's the whole point of memberships, for sure. Also, we have an option where you can pause your membership too. So let's say, your person gets hospitalized for several months or is in rehab for several months. We have definitely worked with folks where we've paused their membership even so they don't lose their spot by leaving, if it's a temporary thing. So we're very, we definitely work with everybody. Absolutely. Let's see. I just had to buy a new tire. Can I please sign up tomorrow after 3? Yeah, we're open until tomorrow at midnight. That is the deadline to join. So yeah, Joyce, you're totally cool with waiting till tomorrow after 3. The reason why we have a deadline is again, just because we want everybody, like there's a really wonderful sense of camaraderie when when a big class of folks come in together. You know, that's your tribe, that's your people. I would want to say sorority, but there's men in there too. It's not exactly a sorority per se, but oh my goodness, it is great. And again, it doesn't matter what kind of caregiver you are. You could have placed your loved one already in memory care or assisted living. And I could tell you from the mass amount of members we've had in that situation that our folks absolutely, their job as a caregiver is not over when they place their loved one. They go from the day-to-day point person to the advocate and the person who is making sure, advocating for their person. Let's see, is the joint link in the chats? Yes. Fern, go to dementiasuccesspath.com to sign up, and Jamie has pinned our link at the top as well. All right. Oh, that's so great, Cheryl. Oh my goodness. Oh, good. I'm glad you see it. That's awesome. Okay, great. Awesome. All right. Well, just so we know, guys, again, dementiasuccesspath.com is where you can sign up for the membership. Again, we are closing our doors tomorrow for new members until next year. I'm going to be going live a few more times. If you guys still have more questions or concerns of how can I make this work? Is this for me? Am I too busy for this? Like, would this work for me? Am I actually a caregiver? I've gotten all those questions. You know, don't be a stranger. Feel free to, I believe there's like on dementiasuccesspath.com, there's a little messenger as well that I answer the messages to. So if you still have questions, then you can definitely ask, and I'm happy to help and give options, whether the struggle we're having and joining is finances or time or whatever the struggle is. You know, we can get through it together. At the end of the day, you know, I'll level with you guys. You know, Jamie and I, we do this very much as a passion project. We still have day jobs. But we love what we do here. We love building communities, and we love offering really quality help to caregivers for a price that's affordable and accessible and personalized for them. So it's not just a cluster. So everybody, thank you so much for coming this evening. I so appreciate it. I hope you guys loved Britney. I know she definitely loved seeing you guys, and I hope to see you guys very soon on the other side. Bye, guys.